Hey there, I'm Stef.
And I'm Simon.
And welcome to The Food Fight, where we offer a different perspective on food culture issues around Australia and the world.
We'll talk with chefs, producers, business owners and experts to hear their stories and find out what makes them tick.
This is a Small Bites episode, an opportunity for us to have a chat and have a bit of fun, and we'll also take some questions from the audience. Today we're talking about knives and about how to cook kangaroo. All right, welcome to the Food Fight podcast. This is a Small Bites segment, 10 minutes worth of the finest content. We're going to be talking about cooking tips. We're going to be talking about some of the stuff we use in the kitchen. And for this Small Bites segment, me, Stef, hello. I'm going to be interviewing Simon and just asking him a few quick questions.
Yay.
Hurrah!
Let's do it.
Welcome. Simon, tell me.
Stef.
I want to know about the knives that you use in the kitchen. Do you have a favorite knife that you use?
So you get some chefs who love knives and spend a lot of money and a lot of time on the knives.
Yes, it's like a thing.
Yeah, it's like I'm really into knives. Like, oh my god, look at that knife. I'm not one of them. Mm-hmm. I tend to just have good knives and I take care of them, which is sort of more important than having this crazy custom-made Japanese knife. Actually, I did use my friend's one the other day and it was really nice to use. And that may have converted me a tiny bit.
Yeah, right.
I use kind of mix of like globals I tend to buy. They're cheap. They're
See, a lot of chefs would go like, ugh.
Oh yeah,
I can't believe you just said global.
I said one today and they were like, ugh, and I'm like, they do the job. Like I have a few, like I just have the right knives that I need. I have like a good carving knife, good chef's knife, a boning knife, flexible boning knife, a long slicer, a diamond steel. I keep them all all straightened or sharp. They run through the steel multiple times a day. And that does the job for me. Yep.
Okay. I have a really nice Japanese knife that I bought when I was in Japan that I try to take good care of and use it.
I think definitely. I think you can have your one prize knives. I think it's the people who have like this whole set and a little roll case, and they pack the knives away every time. And like if anyone touches their knife, they're like, "Don't touch my fucking knife."
Yeah.
Like we're very much not like that in here. And sometimes I forget that like someone else will have a real nice knife, and I'm just used to picking up anyone's knife in the kitchen and just using it.
Yeah, right.
And I'll pick up something. I'll be like, "Oh, is this cool? Is this fine?"
Yeah.
And sometimes you get
people are very particular about their knives.
Yeah.
I for the listeners out there, I think hopefully there's going to be some listeners out there who aren't chefs. So I want to give them some tips and things like that they can take with them. These are my couple of tips regarding knives. So number one is actually invest in if you do anything, if you spend any money, invest some decent money into one good chef's knife.
Yeah.
So you can buy a set of global knives that will have probably 4 knives in a set of 8 that you never fucking use.
Never.
And
you don't need a global fucking bread knife.
Yeah, exactly.
No one needs that.
And there's only one type of bread knife you should get anyway. The Victorinox ones are the best, the ones with the wooden handle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're the best.
Other knife brands are available.
We're going to have knife arguments here. But invest money into one knife that feels really good in your hand, that feels balanced, and that you're going to take care of, and that you're always going to keep sharp, because you're going to use that knife for 90% of the cutting that you do.
I cook at home a bit, but I literally have like 3 shitty knives and 1 massive chef knife I used to use here and I took home. But I just keep them sharp.
Yeah.
And that does all the job.
That's the other thing. It's keeping them sharp. And if you can't sharpen them yourselves, and if you don't have stones and things like that, basically all kitchen shops around have knife sharpening services.
The best thing is learn to use a steel.
Learn to use a steel.
Like literally, that's the one thing I find is that you go to someone's house and like, oh, I bought these knives a year ago and they're just really blunt now. And you just need to learn how to run your knife up and down steel. I'm sure there's YouTube tutorials show how to do it.
There's plenty of them.
That's what you need. Knife sharpeners suck because they actually take a little like part of your knife off.
Yep.
So you see people who just always run them through and their knife is actually getting worn down every year.
Yeah.
Whereas,
instead of using a steel.
Yeah, steel just straightens it up and you'll run it through for like 30 seconds and you'll feel different straight away. That's the biggest tip I'd give to people at home.
Huge tip. So invest some decent money into one really good knife.
Yeah.
And when you do that, I actually would recommend going to a shop to buy one. Like, don't buy a nice knife online because everyone's hands are a bit different, maybe.
Yeah.
And some people like I actually really like Santoku knives. I really like the shape of them. I just feel like they're nicely balanced and I cut well with them.
Sometimes heavier knives people prefer, sometimes lighter knives.
Yeah.
I prefer sort of lighter Japanese style. And they're like it is good to see what kind of feels right.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah, and so here's my other tip, right? And this goes against a lot of what we've just said, essentially. But if you don't want to spend good money on a knife, if you don't know about Kiwi knives, number one, like, they're out there and they're fucking awesome. I use Kiwi knives all the time because I've got, at my house, I live in a share house and I've got a couple of housemates, and we've got a knife block that has communal knives, and then I put my nice knives away because I don't actually want other people to use them because they're Neanderthals and they will ruin my knives. But Kiwi knives are like every single knife in the Kiwi range is less than $10, available at every single Asian grocery in Australia.
So cheap.
They're so cheap and they're so good.
You have to keep buying new ones quite often. Is the
Here's the hack. Here comes the hack.
Okay.
So one of the things that people say, one of the things that people say is buy a Kiwi knife, and when it's dull, chuck it away and get a new one. Which, yeah, sure, you can spend $8 on a new Kiwi knife every couple of months. That's fine. But if you're just using it at home, one thing that I use is you can get those shit knife sharpeners. Like, I've got this scan pan little sharpener. I think they call it like a mouse sharpener or something like that. It's got 2 grades. It's got like one coarse and one like honing sort of grade. And they're the shit ones that you're not supposed to use.
Yeah.
But I get my Kiwi knife every now and then and run it like 10 times through the coarse, 10 times through the fine, and it's pretty fucking sharp. Like, it'll smash straight through a very ripe tomato with absolutely no fuss. And
that is a test of a knife.
I've got
really is.
Exactly, and I've got Kiwi knives that I've had for years. Just, they look like absolute dog shit and whatever, but like, there's nothing I hate more than using a dull knife.
Yeah.
And these things are fine for me.
Yeah.
I cut with them just fine. So,
well, that's interesting. Yeah.
Kiwi knives, and
I guess you're spending spending $8, you don't mind running it through a sharpener.
Yeah. You can treat it like shit. You run it through a sharpener.
Yeah.
I don't even bother with the steel. I should probably, like, be even better if I put a steel on them as well.
Yeah.
So in this throwaway culture that we live in, Simon, we don't want to be buying new knives every 2 months.
No.
It's
a good hack. A lot of you'd be surprised the amount of chefs who have a whole set of Kiwis.
Oh, definitely.
And swear by them.
They're cool shapes too. Like some of the cleavers and the bigger style knives and things like that.
That's the cleavers I have are Kiwi ones.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just battering stuff with them.
Yeah, no, they're good. And the other knife that I want to give a shout out to are the little red handled. They're not always red handled, but the little Victorinox ones that you buy, all colours now,
black.
Yeah, at the cook shops, they're small, and that when you buy them, they come incredibly sharp.
Yeah, and like $10,
and they're so versatile.
Yeah, they're really useful just for slicing things. The same thing, if you run them up and down a steel a couple of times, they come back to life. And you can for chopping fruit.
Yeah, that's vegetables. It. They use them at cocktail bars. That's a cocktail bartender's favorite tool of choice. Yeah. But if I was to ever have just two, like, it'd be one nice knife and one of those small Victorinox knives
and one Kiwi.
Pretty much.
That's your 3 set.
I reckon if I had those 2, I could live. But I'd throw a Kiwi in the mix there too if I was allowed 3. Yeah,
I reckon you only need 3 knives.
Yeah, I need a filleting knife. I need a good fish knife.
Yeah, but again,
that's pretty specialised.
If you're taking bits of meat apart or taking fish apart, then a more specialised knife for sure. Most people aren't doing that at home.
Yeah, it's a good thing to learn how to do though, if you can.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
I watched a hour-long YouTube video of a guy butchering a half cow, a side of beef, which was fascinating.
Yeah,
I don't know how to do it. Can you do it?
I've helped do it.
Yeah.
We used to buy whole cows here. We'd go down to Gerhard's at Shotlanders.
Yep.
With Pete the butcher. Mm-hmm. Pete the meat, as we knew him in the end. I'm not sure anyone else calls him that. You just smash this half cow. Just be like fucking ripping it, but like little bit haphazard at times. We'd be like, well, that's a little bit of the fillet up there left in. And you're like, please don't leave that little bit of fillet there, Pete. That'd be nice if that was on the end of the rest of it. Yeah, but it's the same thing. Like and once you can butcher one animal, they're all quite similar.
Yeah, apart from fish.
Well, yeah. But if you do one fish, then
one fish from the sea, they're all quite similar.
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah. No, it's true. I filleted my first flounder last year, which was a bit of a different experience.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
as you say, once you get the technique down, it's just about following what you already know.
Yeah, it's always just find the spine, go down that, and then try and use the ribs as a guide, even with flatfish, roundfish, even with fucking massive tuna and swordfish, things like that. It's basically the same. Like I butchered a whole kangaroo last year, which I'd never done before, but have butchered whole pigs and lambs and seen half a cow been done and helped out with that. And it was just like, okay, so that's where that's going to be. That's where it's going to be. I'll follow that round. Okay, cool. That came off like that. Even when the leg had like 13 different subprimal cuts that I took off it. Bloody kangaroos.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
What are you guys? What's the cut you guys are getting? Oh, was it a kangaroo cut you're getting, or an emu cut that we were talking about recently? You're getting this interesting emu cut that you were using for one of your dishes.
The emu is quite interesting because when we first started getting it, and it's still quite hard to find this information about some of these native animals. We sort of assumed it was the breast to start with, because it almost has like a chicken breast feel. And then once we actually asked, it was part of the leg, but there's like 3 different cuts to their leg. And then when we sort of tried to actually picture what an emu is, it's like it's all leg and feathers. Like there's literally and a neck. Like there's like nothing else to it. It's not really like it's just not like a chicken where it's kind of all breast meat. It's just all leg, and the leg is super lean because obviously they're fast as fuck. So we're getting, there was like 3 different cuts, but we can't quite specifically order which one we want most of the time. So it's like, give us some emu, and it just comes as a big old shit fight of, okay, well, I'll cook this that way. And obviously now we've got some experience on it, so that's better at that temperature, that's better at that temperature, that's better to cut it this way, to cut it this way. Yes, it was a shit fight of using native Australian ingredients sometimes.
Interesting though, interesting thing to learn, and I guess that's the type of knowledge that we need to be spread more broadly. Like in order for more restaurants to be able to serve these types of ingredients, and for more clientele to be able to recognize them and not be scared away by the thought of eating emu or whatever it is, which is still part of our culture. It's just that knowledge base that needs to continue to grow.
Exactly. That's why we got a whole kangaroo in last year. It was just so we could see what cuts were available and what bits we could use. So even the things that we still can't quite get, but the kind of the neck, like the top end of the kangaroo was a really good braising cut. There's like a whole kind of section of the rump as well, and even things like we took the racks and like Frenched them like you would a rack of lamb. So like there's lots of kind of interesting things we learned from doing that will hopefully help us down the road, and then obviously maybe some other people and maybe butchers we can talk to about how we want things cut and things like that.
Were you sous videing a lot of the kangaroo that you use?
I still hate cooking kangaroo.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It's the meat's so lean, and there's just so little places for moisture to stay. So I've tried lots of ways, and it's not like I can't cook kangaroo. I can bloody cook kangaroo, mate.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
I beg to differ, but
but it's fine. So you can brine, you can salt, you can do all these things, you can sous vide, you can roast. I just find that to stop the meat bleeding, which is not blood, I will stress, but for lack of a better word, bleeding out, you have to rest it for such a long time that it then basically becomes cold and quite tough anyway because it's cold meat.
Yeah.
So then, like normally restaurant kind of, you'd have your meat, you'd rest it, and then you'd give it a little flash in your pan or in the oven or over your coals. Just give that last little bit of heat because you rest it for 5-10 minutes to really let it kind of pull all that moisture back into itself. With kangaroo, you rest it, let it chill, flash it back onto the pan, and it just starts bleeding out again straight away. So it more from a plating point of view then is there's nothing worse than a piece of meat with this pink juice seeping from it. Ruining my jus.
And you've Yeah, and you've tried like all the, a bunch of different methods of brining and salting.
There's better. To be honest, I think the best application for kangaroo is eating it raw, or as like
so talk to me
carpaccio.
about eating it raw. Like, have you put that on the menu? You're starting to see a lot of kangaroo tartare
That's
on.
probably the most popular way you see kangaroo on menus now. Like I had it at sixpenny. We've been doing it for quite a while.
Yep.
But we have it on the moment. So it's just a bit of the fillet, just diced up like tartare, and we just put some pickled mustard seeds, some soy sauce in there as well, and just season it up. And it's just because it's so lean, you are just eating pure meat, so it's just a really nice kind of fresh experience. Whereas beef has a bit more fat in, and that can, when it's raw and hasn't broken down, that can kind of get in your teeth, and it can be a bit sinewy, and you can end up like with two bits kind of still connected by a bit of connective tissue. Whereas kangaroo is just so lean, it really is perfect for like tartare.
And is it at all chewy? No.
No, it's so, because it, like I said, it's so lean, it's all protein.
It's just
and it just, and as long as you dice it up,
nice
fairly
texture.
finely, it's just a really nice texture. And you are seeing that across menus.
Yeah.
In Australia now.
That's great. I want to give it a crack.
More so than cooked.
Yeah.
Which I think,
people are cottoning on to the exact same issues that you are.
Yeah. The other thing we've done with a lot is to sear really high heat, roll in cling film, and then chill. And then you let it rest in that cling film, and it takes all the moisture back in. Then if you slice it thinly with a sharp knife or on a meat slicer, you get really nice kind of carpaccio pieces, and that's got real nice texture, and you still get some of that kind of caramelization.
Yeah, awesome. You get a little sear on the outside.
Yeah. So I think they're probably the best uses for kangaroo.
Cool.
But I'll keep you updated.
Keep us updated. Yeah, the experiments continue.
Yeah, I actually haven't put on the menu for quite a while.
Okay.
Because I don't like it. But we've had like magpie goose and emu and other things like that to scare people off. So maybe I'll have to do it with a kangaroo dish soon.
Yeah, cool. All right, let's leave it there.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Bye.